Hi there, Purple Plant Girl here. I'm out in the garden this morning. What a beautiful morning. We just had a light little rain. Didn't really amount to much, but it sure just knocked the dust off of things. It seemed really nice. But I want to try and get out here. It's supposed to rain again later, so I wanted to get out here and try and finish up some planting I was doing, but I wanted to bring you along for. I have this gorgeous pot here that I'm putting together. I have another one on the other side of me, just kind of behind me right now, that still needs to be planted. So this is right in front of my shed. So it faces pretty much west. So it gets pretty much full afternoon sun from about 1 o'clock on. So quite a bit of sun and hot sun at that. So I thought these would be really nice to just plant up with some nice high impact, first of all, because it's right in front of the shed, so you want something that kind of flanks it and makes it look a little prettier, but also something with some cooler tones, just to kind of bring the heat down off the reflection of the shed here a little bit. I have been going towards a lot of warmer reds and yellows and oranges and things in a lot of my pots this year, but this little area is off away from the rest of them, so I thought it would be okay to put this little pop of pinks and whites and things in here, and I think it'll look really nice. It'll look beautiful with this cream colored pot. So this pot is about not quite 2 feet across, so about probably about 45-50 centimeters across, and about 2 feet tall, so about 60 centimeters tall. So it holds quite a bit of soil, so I'm put a lot of plants in it. What I've decided to put in it this year is the Cafe au Lait Dahlia. These are from tubers that I stored over the winter. I have videos on how to do that if you want to learn how and how to get them started. And I have this little bit of a kind of a trellis in the back here. So these are pretty tall dahlias and they get really heavy flowers on them. And I find a lot of dahlias anyways, their stems can easily be broken. And this is pretty exposed to the west winds we get here. So I will be tying this off as it grows, just to make sure it has lots of good support in this pot and I don't have a stem break off on me. And then what I decided to add, I brought all the tags out here so I can give you all the stats. So I don't know how well you can see them in here, but there's this beautiful dusty miller. Let me grab the tray. It's kind of hard to see in the pot right now while it's still growing, but it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous color. Has this kind of silvery gray on the foliage. It's just has a little bit of a texture to it, and it's just a foliage plant. I'm not looking for blooms out of this, but it should grow up. The Cafe au Lait will get like several feet high, taller than what you're seeing in the shot here, and it gets big. This one I'm not sure if it's cream or some of them had a real pinky tone, kind of like this plant here, bloom to them. So hopefully I get one of those in here. It was just a mix of Cafe au Laits, so I'm not sure exactly what color I'll get out of the blooms. The dusty miller will look really nice here, contrasted against these dark green leaves of the Cafe au Lait. So I don't know. You can see that contrast there. The thicker silvery leaves of the dusty miller and then these dark green finely serrated leaves of the Cafe au Lait. And the dusty miller should get up, it says to about 45 centimeters, so that's about 1.5 feet. It could get a little bit shorter just depending on how much it likes its position, so it has a real range. So it might only come to about here, it might come up more like in here. Just depend how much. And again, it should fill in this whole kind of back area width-wise. And then I put in just one Salvia here. So this is a Salvia Vista Purple, is what it's called. So it'll get nice purple blooms. It should really attract some pollinators into this area. And this will get about 25 to 30 centimeters, so right around 1 foot, maybe just slightly shorter than 1 foot tall. And it'll spread out almost that wide, just about 20 to 25 centimeters. So it should fill in this space nicely. And I have it kind of in a triangle with the dusty miller as kind of my taller filler plants underneath, for that layer underneath the dahlia. So on this side, I have a Diasica. I really like the texture of Diasica, and it just seems really fine and can really set off, even the little flowers seem really delicate. So I feel like it really sets off heavier foliage and heavier flowers just to have something like that. So it's just a little bit more airy. So that's my next layer down, and it has this beautiful pink flowers to it. This is called Juliet Rose, and this plant should get about 15 to 20 centimeters high, which is about half a foot, and the spread is 10 to 15 centimeters. So you're looking at, what's that, about 6 to 8 inches, I think. So it should kind of fill in this little pocket between the Dusty Miller and the Salvia quite well here. Just give a little offset here, and it should kind of drape over the edge a little bit and just give that softness to the pot. On this side, I have an Ageratum. I always have trouble saying that. And this is called Bumble Rose. I've never tried this particular variety before. I've always had the purple or the whites, but I saw this and I thought, what beautiful color. So this is just gorgeous. Even when it's like, this is a spent flower and it still looks just beautiful. So this one, again, is very similar in height to the Diasica, just maybe a little bit taller. So this will get about 20 to 30 centimeters, but should still be a layer down on this side. And it's about 30 to 35 centimeters. So it's going to fill in this corner a little bit more. So pretty much a foot wide and tall. It's a little bit coarser texture leaf, but still a contrasting leaf to the other two plants in here. And I wanted something a little bit heavier on this side just because the doors of my shed open this way. And I thought there was less chance of it getting damaged on this side if they happen to bang into it in a wind or something. So that's why I chose to put these on this side. It should kind of come, because of the spacing, should kind of come eventually over to the sides here. You can see there's a piece of it coming out this way already, and start to fill in over the edge a little bit. And then in front of those, I have some white petunias. Now these are just petunias that I grew from seed, and the seed is seed that I collected off of my white storm petunias last year. So I'm not sure exactly what I'll get. I've had a little bit of a mixture of color in the flowers that have come out of these. I grew quite a few of these from seed this year, and being that they were saved seed, I'm just not sure what exactly varieties these are. But I tried to pick out ones that were already in bloom, so I would know that I was at least going to have white flowers, and they should just really fill in any space that's left from these other plants. Just fill it right in, and they should come to the edge of the pot too. But I always like to have that little bit of white in there. I think it kind of helps to just give your eye somewhere calm, and it also draws your attention at night. So during the day, it's just kind of that calming factor with all the other color. And then at night, it's just what draws you in, because the other colors kind of fade into the darkness, and then you have that white there that still stands out in the dark. So I like to have that little bit of white. And then I have an Ipomia, and this is Marguerite. And how big does it get? The tag here says this gets to be about 10 to 25 centimeters in height. Now it's going to spill over the edge, and I think I'm sure I've grown Marguerite before, and it just really fills it right out. So it should really fill this out. I can trim it up if I need to. But what I really liked about this particular one, and I don't know how well you can see it, but there's just the finest kind of outline on the leaf, and then down the center in the kind of the center vein there, that has this kind of pinky purple shade to it that I think kind of goes along with these other plants really well. And the bright green is just a little bit different green than everything else. So it should really, make this a nice pop. Even though it has no flowers, I think it'll still be nice and bright and cheery in here, and just give us that real draping that we need off the side of this tall pot. So we have that height to go with the height of the pot, the draping to kind of just, so you're not just looking at pot on the front, lots of nice bright colors and different textures. So I'm really excited to see these as they fill in and grow throughout the summer. So let's go over, and I'll just pot up the other one, and so you can see how it all comes together. And you let me know in the comments down below what you think. Is this a pot combination you would like to try? So here's a little backed up view so you can kind of see the space we're dealing with here. So off to the side there is my vegetable garden, and off that direction is the new flower bed that I'm building. So Right here is the pot that I still need to actually plant up. The plants are just sitting in it right now. So let's get them in there so they can start to really grow and flourish. So I've already filled this with fresh potting soil. I'm just going to add in a little bit of this organic multi-purpose garden fertilizer. So it's just a 733. 7 is nitrogen, which is good for upward growth, leaf development, flowers, and that. 3 is the first 3 is your phosphorus, and that's usually helps you with getting good root development, and it'll also help with fruit development on fruiting plants, I believe. And then your potassium is the last number, which is 3 on this, which is just pretty much good for overall growth in every direction here. I might need a bit more soil, but once that dahlia gets in here, it might make up the difference. So dahlias don't have to be planted super deep, but I find in our windy area, if I can get them a little bit lower in the ground, it won't hurt the stem to be buried a bit deeper, and it kind of just helps to give it that little bit more support. I think I had decided this was the way I wanted to put it. So you need to be kind of careful taking them out so you don't break those stems. Are somewhat brittle. And these are pretty packed in these pots. So you can see there, like that's the tuber. There's either another one or another part of it going down here, and then the shoots are coming out the top, and lots of nice root development. This is a nice healthy plant. I'm going to try and push it down in there pretty good, just to try and get the stem buried just that little bit more, and that one tuber that was sticking out then will be under the soil a bit. So there, and I have pinched these a little bit, so not sure how well you can see, but there was a stem coming up here and I've pinched it off, and now there's side growth coming. This is broken. Side growth is shooting out at the branching points a little bit more than it was before because I've done that pinching. So if your dahlias are just going straight up and not getting very bushy, just give them a little pinch. So now we want 2 of these gorgeous Dusty Miller. I haven't used Dusty Miller a lot in my garden in the past. So I'm kind of excited to see how it grows and develops here for me. I don't know if I mentioned, these are all full sun plants except the Ipomia or sweet potato vine. Can be grown in part sun as well, but I believe all the rest were full sun. So now this dahlia comes out a little bit here, so try and sneak a salvia in. Oh, and I just noticed I have this cafe au lait is marked with pink, so at the end of the season, if I knew what color it had bloomed, I had put the color on the tags. So I guess this one I know blooms pink. The other one I guess I didn't know. So there's the salvia, and then the ageratum. Such pretty plants, and I just love the texture even of the leaves. Nice roots. You don't really need to. They're not really doing anything. You don't really need to mess with them too much there. They should be fine like that. So all of these plants I purchased at local growers except the dahlia and the petunias. Everything else in these pots was purchased. The dahlia and the petunias I grew from my own stock. So here's the Diasica. And you can see this one's a little fuller, so you can probably see how it's going to kind of spill over the side of the pot more than that other one is just starting to fill out. It's a little tighter because that dahlia, the way the tubers were in the pot, I need to leave more room there, but Pop a couple of these petunias in. And so you see, like, these two aren't actually opening their blooms yet, so I don't want to use them, so I'm not sure if they'll actually be white. This is definitely white, and I would say by the bloom and even the stem in that this one is going to be white as well. A lot of the ones that were more colorful, the stems actually had a little bit of color to them too, so pop that in. Show you the nice root development. So these are those tiny little petunias you may have seen if you saw some of my videos of starting the petunias, and there was these tiny little plants. They sat there forever like that, but look, they do grow and they do get gorgeous. So when you're starting your own petunias from seed, it can feel a little bit like you're never actually going to get anything out of them, but all of a sudden they take off. And then one last plant, and I'm just enough room to squeeze it in here, is this Ipomia. So I just love this, the color on these. Hopefully you can see that kind of edging on these plants. It's just beautiful. I like to kind of tip my spillers, so I've put the root ball kind of going like this, so that's kind of tipped out towards the edge of the pot to just really get it going out this way. And with the petunias in here, I really don't need it filling in the pot. I want it coming out this way. So that's what I've done with it. So there, I think that looks really good. It needs a little watering, clean it off, and it should be nice. And then I have a couple more plants to pop in somewhere else. A couple more petunias. I might even take some of the plants that were left over from doing this, and I have a big pot with gourd and a dahlia and some gladiolus just kind of off to the side here. And I might fill those in to just kind of continue on with that color combination over that way. I think that would look nice. So we'll see if I can squeeze some of those plants into there. So I put 3 of the Salvia in here, 2 of the Dusty Miller, and then 2 petunias. And then I already have some mixed gladiolus. I have a couple of Pro Mix just decorative gourds to go up a trellis here. And this is a Crazy Love Dahlia. It doesn't get quite as tall as the Cafe au Laits, but it should still peek out above the Salvia and the Dusty Miller. And then we'll just have this filler of the petunias. So not quite the same stair-step effect. And it'll be interesting with the gladiolus in here to just see how this all looks. But I think this could be kind of interesting with just this little bit of sword-shaped leaves in here. And I really want the gladiolus for cut flowers anyways, so then there'll still be some nice flowers in here when it's done. It'll be interesting just to see. Just take some leftover flowers and I just threw them in here, and how this turns out. But it'll be nice to have the Salvia as a great pollinator attractor, so it should really help to get those gourds pollinated. Well, I'm really happy with how these pots have turned out. I love this bit of color over here, and I think they're just going to get looking better and better as the season progresses. I do need to, when I water, I'll wipe this pot off a little bit. I got a little dirty, but yeah, I think this is going to be a really nice, fun pop of color. A lot of the plants that are coming down from that new flower bed that I just put in are going to be leaning towards these kind of purples, and there'll be some yellows and things. So I think it'll really be a nice transition from that path down into these pots here. So I can't wait. I'll bring you along to show you as they fill in and just get more beautiful, I'm sure, as the season progresses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.